What's up, guys? What's up, David? David, man, it's impressive. That's 5 days in a row, like I said. First one in the group. What's up, Ahmed, Josh, Akmal, Lambos, Handolini? Oh, nice. Working for yourself, sweet. What's up, Mike? Hopefully we can get a good crowd in here. What's up, Dean? Buga, I'm not sure if you're in here, but that rumor about Fluffy Pony leaving Monero to join an ICO, I'm not sure if that was a joke. Not from your part, but from, I also saw some stuff about that. What's up, Prinny? I don't think that's going to happen. He makes fun of so many ICOs and kind of trolls everything like that in the industry, so I'd be pretty surprised if he actually did that. I'm going to move the chat over real quick, guys, just so everyone can keep up with what I'm looking at. Yeah, Ahmed, can you see it? That's not what I wanted. All right, looks like we're good. Can everyone see? I just want to make sure real quick one more time. Looks like Ahmed isn't able to see the actual live stream. Any comment in here? I'll wait to get confirmation there. And then I have three kind of key things I want to touch on with this. That's commitment, Dean. Cool. All right, looks like we're good. So three things I want to touch on. Obviously, we're going to be going over Bitcoin. I'm going to be going over these kind of trend lines that I've been drawing in, trying to get a trajectory or an understanding of where we could be headed next. Obviously, it's extreme uncertainty. Cool. Obviously, extreme uncertainty, and it's been that way since December with this consolidation. Zooming out and looking at the daily and the weekly, we are clearly getting higher highs or lower highs, lower lows. For a minute there, we did have a higher high, and then after it broke down, you guys remember this consolidation. This is when I was jumped on the plane, and Bitcoin likes to dive when I get on a plane. Anyways, I'm going to talk about what's going on here. But the three real considerations that I want to hit on for this episode are kind of three topics that'll make this one a little bit unique. Once again, slowing down, especially in uncertain times, number one. Two, talking about consolidating some positions, maybe having a more concentrated approach and kind of hedging or taking some risk off the table. So we're going to talk about that. And then also small caps historically having held up a little bit better when Bitcoin is down like this. That's especially important just because I just gave that alt trade idea, that Lux idea over here yesterday. And really my crypto, even though my Bittrex, I think my Bittrex portfolio now after this drop is probably down about 5 or 6% on the week. Cryptopia is still even. It literally, the thing hasn't even moved. I mean, not even the 10th decimal of sats. So we'll talk about that, what that means, different ways, different areas you can park your money in that might not be getting hit as hard. So those are kind of the three things I want to hit on. I am still waiting for, in the background of this, the ICO strategy number 2 video is being uploaded to YouTube, and then it can be put in the strategy session. So that video is done. Cool. And this live stream is kind of just starting my day, guys. Like I said, I slept in 2 hours later than I like to. Some days I'm up at 6, but usually I aim for the 10 a.m. mark. So slept in. I was up super late, just reading through different FUD things, looking at different ICOs. Anyways, we'll start with Bitcoin. And looking at this, we have Bitcoin closing above this retest failed. So now the daily candle, it actually did close above this longer term log channel. And right after, it moved straight down. So a couple guys, this is that A&E reversal that I painted, a couple days ago and suggested that we could either have a W, one of these double bottoms, or A&E. I still don't think that's impossible, but right now there's a lot of looming FUD. I'm seeing a lot more stuff about Tether. I'm seeing a lot more stuff. Let's see here. I just read another article about the CFTC kind of being poised to take action on the Coinbase Bitcoin Cash ad. What's up, Derek? How are you? And there's just a lot of looming FUD. That Korea story seems to be reoccurring. They seem to be timing it. I'm not sure if, I don't want to get out my tin hat and say they're timing those news stories. But there's a lot of Korean FUD, a lot of, saying that they're going to ban trading or exchanges are going to get hit hard or there's going to be new tax laws. This in combination with the Tether FUD, in combination with CFTC potentially taking action against Coinbase, a lot of things going on and a lot of uncertainty that is causing this drop. Zooming out, and what I kind of said in the trading strategy video, same thing that I've been saying for a while, is this really, this is drastic, but it still doesn't really change the overall portfolio strategy. Trading strategy, that trading portfolio is still being used to earn more Bitcoin. This week we're pretty much flat, still no movement. It's been a very boring week for alt trading. The investing portfolio, since we built that portfolio in December, is still up considerably. So there's really nothing I want to do there. We're going to look at the ETH channel once again. I think Void or someone had a really good question about whether I wanted to liquidate some ZRX and possibly move around some alt positions. So we're going to talk about that. But this is what I'm looking at for Bitcoin, guys. I'm just kind of using these trend lines, extending to get possible bounce zones. But it's I don't really have. What's up, Jeff? I don't have too much conviction in any of these bounces just because longer term, daily and weekly, I viewed this long-term log channel as the strongest support, this red line. Now that that's failed, I'm just going to get this fib out of the way just to make this really clear. Now that that's failed, I don't think these bounces, I just don't have as much conviction there. I don't think they're as strong. What's up, Hugo? But anyways, I'm keeping the lines there. Once again, I'm using those, trying to pick the next trajectory. This was the 2016 channel. This was the 2017 channel, green and red. And then I'm using these new lines to potentially pick the new channel. But right now it's just checking. Head and Shoulders looks before me. Yeah, it definitely could be. So anyways, that's what I'm looking at for Bitcoin. If we can get a bounce here, if we can get a nice A&E reversal, once again, I'm just not holding my breath. But in actuality, it does. The dollar value of my portfolio is going down. Bitcoin is almost the exact same, and definitely still up since even the beginning of January. So that's all I have there. We're gonna look at ETH next, the ETH Bitcoin channel. I'm probably gonna go more in depth on this stream, guys. It might be a little bit longer. Anyways, I'm still looking, and you can still see how flat alts are across the board. You can see, exactly what I'm talking about. They kind of trended up the last day or two. Now they're dropping again with one red candle. Overall, still stuck between this being the neutral line, this brown dashed line, not cheap, not expensive, and stuck between the next two support zones, which are down here, these green areas. So this is where, I have an alert set. This is where my first kind of aggressive, alt entries would take place. I'm just not ready to move into many alts up here. And I also don't really want to be I guess selling wouldn't be too bad if you know that you're going to try to buy back lower. But ideally, it's just still in no trade zone for a lot of alts. It just doesn't make sense thinking of things in terms of probabilities. You want to be selling it at resistance. You want to be buying at support. Right now, we're still just stuck in this no trade zone, in this no movement zone almost. So that's what I'm seeing for alts. Almost every single chart, I saw an interesting graphic. Let me pull it up here. Looking at and this is just looking at CoinMarketCap at every single alt chart. So they're all almost following, like I said, it's all almost lockstep with Bitcoin. As the uncertainty and as the dip continues, all alts are kind of dropping with it. So that's a bit unique, and that's why right now I'm still just using the ETH channel as a better timing tool for alts instead of Bitcoin, because everything's just kind of following Bitcoin. If Bitcoin continues to drop and we move lower, that kind of sucks some more risk taking out of the market. People are more risk averse. They're either going to go to Tether or they're going to go to US or to Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes back up, it restores faith in the market, and I think alts rise. So right now, everything's following Bitcoin. That's why I'm still using ETH as the better timer for alts. So that's all I have there. The three things, okay, so this brings me to perfect. The three things that I really wanted to hit on were slowing down, especially in uncertain times, consolidating positions, and small caps historically holding up better. So let's go back to Bitcoin. And it's, I forget who brought this up. Let's see, it was in BitMEX discussion. So Cass brought this up. So Cass had a post. Will be the upside into going into Tether and I can definitely touch on that. But Cass had a good post. Well, not a good post, not as in it's good to see, but a very transparent post about sharing thoughts about MEX, getting liquidated, and kind of what that does to your psychology, what that does to your portfolio, all those different things. What I've kind of been saying for the last month, or at least the last few weeks, is that while alts are doing this well, while alts are in this upswing, and there's this much uncertainty, this much chop with Bitcoin and this downtrend, and who knows if we get a bounce, this looming FUD, I'm just kind of staying away from BitMEX. I did try to play this bounce, this retest. I got stopped out. So that's 3 or 4 stops in a row. It just hasn't made sense for me ever since really October, November to be spending too much time on BitMEX, only because all alts and ICOs are doing so well. So while alts and ICOs perform well, BitMEX requires a little bit more time. In my opinion, it's taking more risk. You're leverage trading. It's only going to get increasingly more difficult as more bots and market makers and everyone steps into that kind of arena. And in this market condition, this is extremely hard. I'd rather be on BitMEX buying dips in a rising market. Right now, this is tough. This reminds me a lot more of FX trading, and that's an arena that I left to do this because this is so much easier in the alt trading. So one thing I kind of wanted to touch on there is even with Bitcoin doing this, and Cass, I'll reach out to you. I kind of want to build a little game plan with you now. But even looking at where we are now, I still don't think trading Bitcoin is too attractive right now. I think the way that ETH and alts are moving, the multiples there are still so high and it's still so attractive that it just doesn't make sense to be trying to time too many of these Bitcoin plays with this much uncertainty. So I wanted to bring that up. Really think about moving slower, only using the 4-hour and the 1 day. And if you're trading Bitcoin, especially on BitMEX, make sure those position sizes are low. It's just a much more fast-paced style of trading. It's higher risk. So I wanted to bring that up. Number 2, consolidating positions. So Void had a good question. Let's bring up ENG. I think he was talking about possible head and shoulders. Yeah, so I'm seeing this pattern on ENG. I saw it. Some people are saying on ZRX. Where did ZRX go? Some people are saying, if this can form on ZRX, it's on a lot of charts right now. And honestly, I think it's inevitable. I think we are going to see that drop. The drop I've kind of been calling for now for a week. I think we will see this drop down here or down here. So yeah, possibly that is a head and shoulders. The thing is though, I don't really want to adjust those longer term plays right now. If I did, then it would be taking another really small partial, maybe a 10 or 20, 25%, maybe a quarter of those positions, taking it off the table and anticipating building back into those longer term plays when we do get here or here. So that actually is something I'm going to look into a little bit more, Void Box. I don't think that'd be a bad play at all. So consolidating the positions, maybe, for the trades, I only have a few trades open now. ZCL, what the heck else do I have open? I don't want to pull up my BitMEX. ZCL, KNC, Yeah, so Jason, it is a bullish sign. What it means for me is, it's things are moving lockstep with Bitcoin, but in actuality, I think the market is going to continue to get less coupled with Bitcoin. I think ETH and other alts are going to be able to perform well on their own, be able to perform kind of in their own environment, not really need Bitcoin. Just going back to Voidbox, I don't think that's a bad strategy at all. So that's something I'll definitely look into. Taking some profits, maybe 25% on some of those longer term plays in anticipation, because we really are still close to this resistance, in anticipation that we can drop lower and you can build heavier into those longer term plays. So Voidbox, that's actually a really smart suggestion. I think I will be doing that. So I'm going to take a look across the board. Obviously I have, 8 or 9 of these longer term plays: Monero, Litecoin, Ethereum Classic, all those. Some things like Ethereum Classic I'll probably leave. Some of these like ETH, Litecoin, Monero, Enigma, Request, I might be taking some ZRX, I might be taking some profits and then moving back in, anticipating we can build into these lower. So I have my alerts set, guys, for the longer term idea kind of build up, when to make the serious move into some more of these, more of these investments, and then also when we'll get more aggressive in the trades. But it's just a waiting game. We just have to wait for that to happen. So that's what I was talking about with consolidating positions, possibly looking at some of the trades you're in as well and just taking some risk off the table. Things that I don't have a lot of conviction in, possibly getting off. I want to stay in Augur. I want to stay in KNC. I want to stay in ZCL. But I did take, I'm probably going to take even more, another partial profit on ZCL just to free up some capital. It's something that's not going to happen for a while. Maybe even, something that's ran if Augur hits this target again, maybe taking another little bit off of this. Some trades have only been recently filled. So Dean, I guess it's going to be trade specific. So if you got a specific coin, I could definitely take a look. I still don't think it's, if it's a trade that just got recently filled and you just got filled along support or something like that, then maybe not. Ideally, I think you still have time. I think there's still going to be alts that perform well in pockets. I think if Bitcoin bounces today, I think they'll do well. Augur, once again, is really close to that. It's almost at that target zone still. Dean said, feel like at the moment I had good entries, but now it seems like I bought the top. Yeah, it just really depends. I'm not sure what positions you're talking about. Really, any entry for the last week or two, the position's probably just in the exact same spot. So some have moved up, but looking at Augur, this is still up really nice. There's a couple, summer flat ZCL got filled. Okay, what, at 880,000 sats? I think that's an okay play, Dean. For ZCL, I also got filled down here as well. I added to the position at 880. I'm holding ZCL. I like anything at this support. This support obviously being more ideal, the 500. 9. Dean, I can't give advice. I'm holding ZCL. The only reason I was talking about minimizing some of this is because it's still a 10 or a 6x for most of my entries down here, so it's still a pretty large position for me, and I kind of want to consolidate. Ubik. Yep. So Ubik, some of these that I might have less conviction in. Something like Ubik, it's still exactly at the same breakout point. That's 39,000 sat. So taking some off the table for some of these, giving yourself some more dry powder, some more ammo, if things do dip further, I don't think is a bad idea at all. I don't, once again, not moving in binaries, not selling all your alts, still looking to close things at targets. I still think some targets will get hit. I think Augur is going to hit the target again. KNC, I think, can move up nice if they could finally get some good news. But really, everything is flat. So I don't want to be making too many moves. I don't want to be selling on my alts and moving into this alt or doing this. But I do think a consolidation of a couple positions is okay. I think it'll help a lot of people sleep better at night. And if you can kind of approach this game with a better mental, if the risk, if you're not over risking and mentally you're in a better place, I think you'll perform better. Anyways, kind of a long-winded one there. Last one is small caps historically holding up better. So this idea is interesting. So my Cryptopia portfolio is doing, like I said, it hasn't even moved. Bittrex is down slightly now on the day. But Cryptopia and low caps have done so well when Bitcoin dips. So things like DBIX, Neblio, Lux, all these, DNR, all these small caps that I'm in are still the exact same. If, they just still haven't moved. And that portfolio is up almost 5x since I started it in mid-December, early December. So I like small caps. If you are going to park your money into something, they tend to not get hurt so bad. And I'm not sure why that is. But the coins on Cryptopia, anything that's like 50 million or less seems to not get hurt so bad. So maybe if you consolidate a position or two and move it into a small cap, that's kind of what I'm looking to do. Maybe I'll park a little bit more money into my Lux entries. And that was my last alt trade idea. If you want some more background on why I like that. But in terms of everything else, guys, everything is really just sitting at support or not moving. I don't like too many moves, and like I said, for the past 4 or 5 days, it's just such a boring market right now. But I don't want to force the action, force my hand, and just kind of overtrade and rack up fees and make too many decisions. It's just like you just have to sit and wait and watch what happens. I still think we're positioned well. I still think having alt exposure open for the last month is still the right move. It's just a really slow, kind of FUD, uncertain time. So that's what we're looking at. That's all I really have, guys. The ICO channel, once again, group updates. The ICO channel is still heating up. It looks great. I see a couple more guys now getting whitelisted into things like Go Network. I know everyone has their eyes on Ontology. It looks like a lot of action's happening in there, which is great. Once again, if anyone ever needs me to set up a Prima block, I am more than happy to do that. I am also actively every single day. By the end of the day, I'll have support. And like I said, we're going to kind of kick this. I have a few major updates I'm going to be releasing this week. Excited to really hit ICOs harder. I think that's something everyone wants to do for the rest of the quarter, and something we kind of took that took a back seat in November and December. So it looks like we're going to be hitting that hard for the rest of the quarter. I'm excited for that. I don't really have anything else, guys. This is a good way to start the day, and we'll see how this progresses. I still like moving slow. I still like keeping alt exposure open and using the macro timing to build into those investments and also those trades. I think is just huge. I just don't want to be making too many moves right now. Oh yeah. Yep. So Andalini said, "Can you please speak to what you mentioned about regarding Tether?" I don't use Tether personally, but I know that in my view, it just doesn't seem. I don't buy into the entire Tether conspiracy. I don't think if someone was trying to do something that illegal, they would use a 100% transparent, immutable technology and allow all of us to see it. I just don't believe that. I think he was just on stage in Miami saying that it's, all the reserves are backed by banks around the world. I'm not sure. I don't completely understand it. I don't understand who they're using as a liquidity provider, why they have to. I don't understand. I don't know why there can't just be an audit, but I don't really buy into the Tether conspiracy. I think there's 100% exchange risk. I think there's risk now with Coinbase. I think there's risk with Bitfinex even if people poke this a little bit more and try to get some action out of it. But I just don't believe the Tether conspiracy. I don't think I really don't. Maybe that's me being naive. I don't think that they would try to fraud the system with blockchain. There might be money laundering or something going on, but it just doesn't make sense. I don't think they would use Tether to pump a market. Something's not adding up there for me. OTC desks, it looks like they would arbit. I'm not sure. It doesn't make sense to me. Jason has a question. For ICO, do you think risk reward is less attractive for now since they might hit the exchange in alt bear market? Yes, Jason, my question as well. Then again, there's so BitConnect there as well. Just a lot of FUD drivers. Jason and Dean have really good questions. So for the ICO risk reward, you think it's less attractive now? They might hit exchanges in an alt bear market. So that's an interesting thought. Honestly, I kind of, I am paying more attention to alts now that they're performing really well. and alts are performing really well. But in how I kind of want to view it, the actual ICO portfolio, how I think is a more rational way to approach it, is to not think about how alts are doing right now, and not be too worried about them hitting in an alt bear market. The ICO portfolio is kind of my third portfolio. So I have the trading, I have the investing, and I have the ICO portfolio. That third portfolio, it's uncorrelated to the other two. So it kind of underperformed in October, November. There was nothing coming out, and then December, January rolls around, and Enigma, CND, Request, Block V, all these come out and at least start hitting 10, 12, syndicators almost at 20 or 30x now. So I think the risk reward short term is a little bit less attractive if they enter in kind of an alt bear market. But I actually think that small caps and ICOs right now are a great place to kind of park your money. Just because once you put your money in, yes, they have potential to enter the alt bear market, but it's when you park your money in them, they're not really losing value. And when they launch, they actually have still been performing really well, even when ETH is kind of in this consolidation in this middle zone. So that's what I'm looking at. I don't think it's too less. I think the ICO risk reward, I think it's still really nice. I'm still just looking at this in terms of long term. Alts are clearly in an uptrend. Even if we get a pullback, even if we have like a really short term kind of bear or consolidation market for alts, they're still in an uptrend for me, and I still think that means that ICOs perform very well as long as they're in this trend. So same thing here. Even if there was periods of dips, alts are still, ICOs are still doing very well. Even if there was periods of movement up in this downtrend, alts or ICOs were still performing pretty poorly. So I'm just looking at the overall alt trend for the ICO market, really. I still think it's a nice place to be, in my opinion. Just using historical data there as well in my own portfolio. Even if so suppose, for an example, Jason and Dean, yeah, of course, because I'm conceptually thinking about it too. Suppose we park our money, or you park your money, or I park my money into an ICO that's supposed to launch. Let's say it launched in February, and we do get this consolidation, and it lasts for the first 2 weeks of February, or we get something more drastic. Either there's Bitcoin FUD or Bitcoin flies up and it pushes us down, and we're mid-February now, and alts are doing kind of bad. Maybe it takes another week anyways for that ICO to hit an exchange, or maybe it just takes a week or two for that ICO to kind of rebound and move up with things. I think it's still, I still think during an alt bull market, I still think it's a really good place to be parked, personally. If that makes sense. So here we are again. ETH, you can see a couple alts already getting a little boost as Bitcoin looks to find support here. Dean needs the exact an exact date, but you can see. So just using ETH, guys. Once again, using ETH, and I used to use Bitcoin's channel. I used to use Bitcoin and reverse it with Bitcoin Cash. Now I'm spending a lot more time on the ETH channel, looking at ETH and Bitcoin. So you can see a lot of alts are kind of giving a little pop right here. Just small stuff, but it shows you. I guarantee ZCL did the same thing. But if Bitcoin can make this push up, if we can break out of this kind of FUD scary cycle and actually make a new higher high, I think alts will actually perform very well and rebound with a rising Bitcoin. Jason, how's your portfolio breakdown and percentage right now if it's not indiscreet? In terms of trading, investing, and ICO, or in terms of alts and Bitcoin? Alts, Bitcoin. So it's not exactly this. These numbers might be -5 or +10 or -10%. I had my portfolio kind of always aiming for, let's say, 25 to 30% ICOs. That was kind of the ICO portfolio of the total thing. Trading was another 25 to 30%, and the investing was the rest of that. So it was really kind of a 33, 33, 33 split. It's obviously not always that, because when ICOs took off, and this was beginning of January, the ICO thing kind of boomed, and it was maybe a larger percentage. Now that I've kind of taken some more profits on some of those positions, CND, Enigma, Request, those kind of got shifted to investing. I honestly need to open up a spreadsheet and get a better feel for how heavily it's broken down. But looking at ICO investing and trading and just aggregating them all and thinking about it in terms of alts and Bitcoin, I'm probably much heavier alts than maybe I've ever been. Maybe something like 75% is what I would guess. I'm much heavier alts. And most, some of that's also because, I built so heavily into those longer term investments early December, kind of made that investment portfolio and said, I'm going to make this a priority and make sure that I have an investment portfolio. And now a lot of those things are up 2 or 3x. So that investing portfolio the alt allocation of that kind of surged. So alts have, just because they've risen so much, they're kind of taking up much more of my portfolio than I'm used to. Usually it's something closer to 50-50. But I imagine it's 75% around there now in alts. If that helps. So guys, just, it's just a boring time kind of still in the alt market. Yeah. What's up, Matt? It's just a boring time right now, guys, in the alt market. I don't want to force anyone's hand. I don't want to force my own hand. I want people to realize it's okay to move slow. It's okay to do almost nothing. And really just wait for this Bitcoin FUD to clear. I do think we're going to look back in a week or two or in a month and kind of see how things played out. I don't want to be making too many moves. I just want to move slow, as boring as it is. It's been a pretty boring 5 days since I've been back. Dean said, Luke, any comments on pooling for ICOs? Hard to get everyone together on this. Do you have any suggestions on how to make this work for the whole team? If someone alerts me of an ICO that they want to get into, I guess how this could also work, Dean, is I will kind of make the announcement, let's all get in this ICO, or this is this is how you would if you want to invest. But really, like I said, by the end of the day, I'll have support, and I'll be focusing 100% of my time now on the charts, on the ICO research and things like that, less on answering other questions. I'm going to be more vigilant in kind of finding them early. But yeah, it's more just about finding them early. If anyone finds one, I can set up the Primo block. It literally takes maybe an hour, and I can have it all set up. So we really just need to find one that a pool that people like. Yeah, of course. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to eat a quick lunch, and then I'll be in the Discord the rest of the day. Getting a late start, but that just means I'll work a little bit later tonight. Going to be tracking mostly Bitcoin, talking a little bit more about strategy. Cass, I'm also going to reach out to you. We're going to kind of break down a little strategy for you, look at your risks, look at different things I want to talk about, and help you out. Buga, see you. Thanks for tuning in, man. And yeah, guys, it's just a boring time. And November, December, things, like I said, booming, 3-5Xs every single day, 4 or 5 trade ideas. Times like this, I honestly think it's just better to sit on your hands. Investing is not always going to be, as fun as Twitter and everyone makes it out to be. And I kind of hate to be that serious and that kind of have that approach with it. But this is real money, and I don't want to be taking excessive risk when it just doesn't make sense. I want to be moving very, very slow. So, as always, thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm going to sign off, get a quick lunch. I'll be in the Discord the rest of the day. Let's focus on making good, sound decisions going forward for the next week or two. And I think we're still positioned very well. So I'll see you guys all in the Discord.